Yeah, Robin, I've been really impressed with the overall demeanor of this group. They've been very talkative on the court. That's what you look for early in the process. They've been very diligent in their work. Big emphasis right now is with Kurt Joseph in the weight room and making sure that their bodies are built up where they can handle the type of load that we're going to throw at them. We did a lot of skill work the first week and a half. We have started going a little bit live at the end of practice just to get some things on film and what we need to correct. We're putting an edit for these guys every day on their computers that they can watch, and they've been really good about that as well. So, it's been a fun group to be around to this point. Obviously, we have not hit any adversity yet. There's been great enthusiasm with them, and the thing that I think we've really addressed with this team is our shooting. When we played live, our guys aren't hesitating. They're making the extra play. They're playing very unselfishly, and I've been really impressed with that aspect. I think it's going to be a team that's really fun to coach as we continue along. Give a quick update on Rienk. He has been on the court doing individual workouts. He's up to 4 days a week now. And essentially, he's putting the same load on his body as all the other guys that are out there working on the court together. He will be reintegrated into practice next week with the team in all the non-contact drills. He's still not ready for full contact. He actually might be ready, but we are not ready for him to be in that setting yet. He's doing awesome, exactly where he's supposed to be. But we're still going to be very cautious and very careful with him. Only other thing we're dealing with right now, Jamarques tweaked his ankle a little bit at the end of practice yesterday, but it's nothing serious.
Jamarques, I know it's early, but do you see anything in game that maybe wasn't present?
Yeah, just leadership, coachability, everything that you want out of your lead guard. He's been very vocal, which that was something that he had to work on. When he first got here, he was a very quiet kid. But he has really grown in that area, and you have to have that. Our point guard, they're an extension of the coach over there, and I've been impressed with he and Kendall in that role. And Kale certainly is a guy that can play minutes for us at the point. Sam is getting some reps out there as well. And then again, our bigs, the other thing, with our bigs, not only ability to shoot, but I really think that they all have the ability to play make. You saw what Reink did for us a couple of years ago as a guy that initiated offense for us. But I've seen same thing out of Oogie. And Jared certainly has that ability. BK, who's in really good shape right now, I was really impressed with the way that he came in. And then Leo Curtis, may be the surprise for all of us so far in what he has shown. He's an unbelievable basketball IQ, really skilled, has a great touch, can really shoot the ball. Still got to grow. Body needs to get more mature, and I think we all knew that coming in. But what he has shown with his skill set, we're really happy.
Great calculations to Jamarques, and you could always come back here. I mean, it's only going to be a state all that story that fan system learned that. So first, we're just go on and see like the rest. No, you know about.
Yeah, Jamarques. What happened? It happened. Listen, everybody makes decisions these days, and you wish them all the best in their new journey. We certainly did that with Jamarques when he went to Rhode Island, and he had some really good moments for that team. He was obviously a huge part of that, starting at the point guard. I think a team that won their first 13 or 14 games a year ago, and I think he really grew in his maturity playing that role. So, when he did go into the portal and we made contact with Jamarques, he did talk about some things that he missed. And, I think a big thing that we did that prior year where he had a big role on a team that made the NCAA tournament, he wanted to bring this team back there again. And, yeah, he's just, like I said, he's grown in so many areas. I'm proud of him. And I think he's primed for a really good season. And, it's the other thing about this group, I love the depth that we have of this team. It's not going to make my job easy when it comes to rotations, but this is a deep team with Jamarques, with Kendall, and we've got size. That's the other thing that that I've really liked about this group is the overall length and size that we can put out there in the court, and a team that's got great versatility as well. And I know we're just starting this thing. We get 4 hours a week with them right now. We're staying very diligent to that. I don't know if everybody has the same approach on the rule. But, we're taking this as a long-term approach. But from what I've seen so far, it's going to be a fun team to watch.
Despite not being at the threshold before, do you speak with confidence around what it's like watching him?
You're saying with Rienk, you said? Yeah. Listen, Rienk obviously didn't play for us 1 minute a year ago, but he still had an impact on the team. He was still a leader for this group. He was a guy that talked to our bigs a lot throughout the process and contributed as much as you can without being on the floor. Did everything he was supposed to do. I'm telling you, he's chomping at the bit to get out there and do more right now than we're allowing him to. And, he may have a setback along the way. That's going to be expected, which he has had a little bit of soreness in that, but, he should have soreness with what he went through with the invasiveness of that procedure that he had. But he has put on so much strength in his legs. Our training staff and strength and conditioning staff has done an absolutely phenomenal job of building his body to where he is right now. And now it's about shaving off weight as he gets back on the court and he gets up and down and gets his cardio where it needs to be. But, it gets you excited because, obviously we missed Rienk in a big way last year with everything that he did for us, leading us in assists, leading us in rebounding. I think second or third in scoring the previous year. So just to watch him work out in his individual sessions and to see the shooting stroke, to see the leadership, the communication, even in a one-on-one workout, he's still out there talking. And we missed that a year ago without Rienk. But leadership that he had a year ago, he's going to bring that obviously back on the court. And it's a lot easier to lead when you have a prominent role in the team.
Just time in the world to share with everybody exhaustion on campus, even workouts with the depth and competition that is going to play out. I hope Children's a good following right away.
Yeah, it is important. The one guy that we will that has a commitment for the national team is Leo, and he will leave on Friday to join his national team, and it's a great experience. I will never not encourage a player to play for their national team. I just think the benefit of that down the road for what that can do for a player with his long-term career and his future is very important. So, Leo will have a great opportunity to go play for the Icelandic national team and join Thor. Thor, listen, we talked to Thor a lot when we were going through the recruiting process with Leo. Mate Kavas was another guy that played with Leo on the same team in Iceland. So, it's a great opportunity. So my point on that whole thing is we won't have, he'll be the one guy we don't have for most of the second summer session. Might get him back for the last week and a half or so as we finish off our summer workouts. But yeah, having everybody, Robin, has been really beneficial for us. And again, just all the things that you build and teach, to not have to do that individually or with a small group of guys that are not able to be here for the summer is really good. Even the guys that aren't out there in the court, Rienk right now, Jamarques, not being out there today, they're still able to be on the side and learn and lead and, figure out what the culture is all about.
That's a program myself. Sorry, your two rankings. I think we got a step of that can be never clicked.
Yeah, it's pretty. They haven't gotten in a fight yet, so that's good. It's coming. But yeah, it's great to have Charlie here. He's as I told him, as a coach's kid, you got to be the first one here. You got to be the last one to leave, and he's been very diligent in his work to this point. He's really trying to learn. He's watching both the offensive and defensive playbooks every day, and he's going to be a very valuable asset to our team. And the workouts, the rules don't apply to the GAs the same way that it does to the coaching staff, so they can be out there and rebound for the guys. And they're here all day. They're really the unsung heroes, I think, of your program, them and the managers, because of the amount of time that they spend in the office and on the floor. And yeah, having Charlie around, it's great for me. It's probably better for my wife, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's pretty cool to have him part of the program.
How after you want to make calls every day, and flip side of that, I'm not going to miss him.
Yeah, obviously we're going to miss Bryce a ton for everything that he did. A 21-point scorer in league play, leading scorer in the conference, and a guy that made a lot of plays down the stretch and was very clutch for us. So we'll miss Bryce in a big way. But I was just texting with him a couple minutes ago, and as I told him, I said, listen, whatever happens in the next couple days, you put yourself in a great position for your future and for your career based on what you've done throughout the process. Not only what he did last year as a player, what he's done to grow as a player and develop as a player, but also what he's done in the pre-draft process. Struggled in his first game at the combine, but led the game in scoring with a 24-point effort. And he's been really good. I've been in communication with all the teams that he's worked out for, and they've all said he's done an excellent job, not only on the court, but in his interview, and they talk about how quality of a kid he is, which, makes me happy. So, he's put himself in a great spot. Hope we hear his name. If we don't, he's still going to be in a great position. I'm confident that he's going to be, with a great team, with a great organization. And again, Brice deserves all the credit for putting himself in that position.
You and the staff a lot of credit for developing in the last few years. I guess we kind of want that now and the future.
Well, listen, one thing that I am proud of looking back over our track record, we had two programs with Iowa State and Nebraska. Hopefully Brice will be the 13th player that plays in the NBA. I think that speaks for itself on development. We haven't had the McDonald's All-Americans or the 5-star recruits that walk through the door as pros. The 13 guys, when you look at their names, those guys have all developed. And that's one thing that I think is important when you look at this is, this isn't Kansas and Kentucky where those guys walk through the door as lottery picks. The development has been a big part of the success and the reason why a lot of our players have had opportunity, to play at the highest level. And guys that haven't played there have had very lucrative careers overseas. And you have to have a good staff in place that buys into that. That's one of the mission and one of the core values of our program is the development part of it. And, first of all, you get players that are willing to be in the gym and that are coachable. And, if they come in and buy in, they're going to put themselves hopefully in a position. And then the connections. I think that's another thing that's important is, the connections, the style of play, the NBA system, that helps at least our guys get their foot in the door, and then it's up to them to take advantage of it. And a lot of our guys have.
You see, what do you think Braden got out of redshirting last year, and how are you seeing that?
Yeah, Braden, first of all, I just want to say how proud I am of Braden for how he has grown from when he came in here as a 17-year-old freshman to where he is now. And I know I've talked about this a lot. We really did contemplate taking his red shirt away a year ago when we were going through that stretch in the middle of the season where we were going through a slide. We felt his physicality, his toughness, his relentlessness, his ability to make shots could have helped us. And then we went on, I think, a 6-game winning streak after that. So in fairness to Braden, to give him the full, 5-year program, we felt it was the right move to keep the red shirt and continue to develop. And he's in a really good place where he is right now. I think he's probably you look at what we'll miss with Jawan with some of those toughness intangibles and Braden's ability to go after the ball and rebound and dive on the floor. And I'm telling you, the kid can flat out stroke it. So yeah, Braden is, again, I'm proud of him. I'm happy for him that he's gonna have a big role on this team.
Yeah, well, it's about some basketball. Connor just came back from LA before he came in. We talked about he was finished there. What growth have you seen from him? Yeah,
Connor, again, he had 2 really good games for the Armenian national team against Costa Rica, one in Fresno, one in LA, and played really well. Had 15 and 18, I think, in the 2 games. And that's very valuable, not only for the experience of going out there and playing in a different system, playing the FIBA basketball rules, but also what it can do for your confidence. I think you saw that with Keisei when he went over and played for his national team with Japan and what that did for his confidence. And, Connor, I don't think he's missed a shot yet in our live play. Now, we haven't played a ton, but, he's, I think, 5 for 5 from 3 and made his 1 layup. So, he's just a guy that, the way he finished off the season after a tough ending night and, regrouped and was very important for us and winning that crown championship out in Las Vegas. So he's in a really good place right now. And again, I admire Connor for everything he's all about, his faith and, how that's really helped him grow and get through tough times. And yeah, he's just in a really good place right now.
What do you guys do? What are you guys doing? Racing the court to try to build those stuff?
Yeah, a lot of things we're doing with our guys. They're getting out in the community a bunch right now with our life skills program that Keith Zimmer does such a phenomenal job with. And, Luca, our GM, is awesome and getting our guys out there and going to hospitals and visiting schools. They were at Matt Talbot Kitchen, about 10 days ago. And, we got a pool day with them coming up. We're going to go all see Jurassic Park together, which I might be more excited than any of them for that. But yeah, they're spending a lot of really quality time together off the court, which is important. If you're close off the court, I really do truly believe that translates to on-court chemistry. And, so far so good with that. And, again, the true test is how if that continues through tough times and adversity. But with this group, I'm confident that'll happen.
If they're non-conference schedule, just so you have second.
Yeah, I'm excited about our non-conference schedule. We're going to have obviously some great tests in that. Creighton at home this year. A team that's going to be at the top of the Big East standings again. Playing Oklahoma up at the Pentagon will be an awesome early test for our team. And then the 2 games that we'll play in Kansas City, with 3 really high quality, high major opponents. And then, some quality, bye games that we'll play at home as well that'll prepare us for the grind of the 20-game Big Ten schedule. So, yeah, I think we did a good job with our schedule and excited to see where we are.
For next year, sounds like all that in maybe the second game. How would you get the state guys?
Yeah, Luca does a great job helping us with our schedule, and we've got a lot of different options. With multi-team events moving forward now, you used to play 3. Now you get the extra game if you play 2. So that's in play this year. Obviously, we're playing 2 as opposed to a 3-game MTE like we did a year ago in Hawaii. So there's a lot of things that Luca's working on right now. To give us the most flexibility we can.
Not bad. Yeah, with off on the new and just like this challenge.
Yeah, I think that's good. I do like the continuation rule and the coach's challenge. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, we'll see how that whole thing plays out. We had that in the Crown where there was one play at the end of the championship game where Central Florida, if they had challenged it, I don't think they had a timeout left, which would have been a technical if they missed out on the challenge. So, it's going to be interesting how it all plays out. We'll experiment with it in practices. We'll have somebody that will be behind our bench, similar to what they do in the NBA, that will be the challenge guy, to tell me to hit that button. Is that how we do it? I don't even know. Is it a button? Is it a towel? Is it the flag we throw in the court? But yeah, there's still a lot of unanswered questions with it. But yeah, I do think they're both positive rule changes.
There's also a lot more mention about expanding the NCAA tournaments. Do you have an opinion?
Listen, I think the NCAA tournament is the greatest sporting event in the country. So I like it. I like it as is.
I think so. Pryce out there.
Yeah, Pryce has been great. Another guy that can really shoot the ball, and he's got really good size and length. His brother Peyton was in the building yesterday. He's recovering from a shoulder injury, but having Pryce on our side, I'm excited about. We don't have to play against him first of all anymore, but yeah, his ability to knock down shots, and he's more than just a shooter. He can put it on the deck. I think he can initiate some offense for us. I think he's underrated on the other end of the floor, and I think he's a guy that should be able to get rebounds for us. So just a really good all-around get for us, and excited to have Pryce on our team.
One after on to fit in.
Yeah, Pat's been great. He's very detailed, and as soon as practice is over, he comes in with a list of what we need to work on, what we need to emphasize in practice the next day. He and I will go back and review the practice and put an edit together for the guys. And he's gotten us involved with some guys, that can be high-level recruits. And I know he's very well connected when the portal season rolls around as well. So yeah, I've been impressed with Pat.
The joints over. What's the Berke in better shape, kind of raised, just to go on and thinking, what is it in nowadays?
Yeah, I mean, he's so versatile, Wilson, as you know, and I feel bad for the kid because of how when he was playing his best basketball, he went down with a very unfortunate injury, not only for BK but for our team. We had a really good stretch going at that time, and he plays his best game as a college basketball player, and then 10 days, he really couldn't do anything. And he gets a day or two of practice, and we throw him back into the fire, and he just never regained his rhythm. So, being in shape right now, I think gives him a much better opportunity to get back to that point of where he was when he got hurt in that Ohio State game. And listen, he's got size, length, defensive. He had a good year defensively. He really did. Analytically, you look at it, he was our best defender, a guy that can rebound it, handle it. And, I think you ask BK what he needs to do. He's just shoot it better. And he's worked very hard on that in the off season, and he's shooting the ball well right now. Obviously, it doesn't mean anything until you get out there between the lines, but he's playing with a lot of confidence right now, and that needs to continue throughout the season, regardless of what happens. BK is a very he sees everything, he hears everything, and I got to get him to quit doing that. One of the best things I did is when he stopped reading Twitter during the season, and for him, he can't do that stuff and stay consistent. And that's not just Berke, it's everybody. They all got to do that. Put those stupid devices down and not look at that stuff when negativity is going around. So, but yes, to answer your question, Wilson, BK's in a great place, and, I expect a much improved year this year.
That's perfect. So, what do you think about Kendall Blue out there that you think he can make here and make that jump for his game?
Yeah, the thing that stands out with Kendall is his size, and a guy that will play the point guard position for us at 6'6". I think he and Jamarques will play well together at times out there as well. But what I've seen with Kendall is his ability to get the ball into the pocket. Shot 42% from three a year ago, and just his overall length will open up a lot of things for us. I think you can post him some when he's got a smaller defender on him, just with that length. But I've really been impressed with Kendall's feel. He's a smart kid, high IQ guy, and you have to have that at the position that he's playing.
Say they start playing all the way in next guy, how to getting them for the different Why do you say this? Why do you see you take after you just like this big team out there?
Yeah, I think there's more of them coming over right now. Part of it, I think, is the revenue sharing and NIL opportunities that these players have to make over here as opposed to starting their professional career. You look at a couple teams in our league that are really built with international players. With us, we've always tried to recruit all over, the country, the world, and, try to build the team the best you can. And, for us this year, I happen to come with a lot of guys that have international play or international experience. And, again, when you look at some of those players, just the way that they approach things early in their career, they're very fundamental, probably more fundamental than what the players a lot of times are brought over here. So that's what you see first and foremost is a very fundamental player. Oogie, guy, I haven't talked about him a lot to this point, but, Oogie's, you talk about a beautiful stroke. I mean, he can really shoot the ball at 6'11", and his size and his ability to finish inside. So, again, when I talked, I think it was the very first thing I said today is I think we've addressed our shooting. We're going to have five guys on the court a lot of times that can make a shot. We didn't have that last year very often, at least from a high percentage. So, our ability to knock down shots, man, that's a game changer for you on that end of the floor. I only get to be a rocket scientist to know that, Justin, but thank God you're not. But anyway, it's fun to be out there when you got multiple guys that can knock down shots. And again, the international guys have been a big part of that.
I'm not sure does that take off, his role in the shooter.
As far as having other guys that can shoot, I think it really helps the playmakers more than anybody because that takes away we call it the gravity. Connor's got gravity. Oogie's got gravity. Rienk has gravity. Pryce, really go down the line. A lot of our guys, that suck the defense closer, that opens up the lane for the playmakers. And now the help comes, and now you can spray it out and hopefully knock down shots. Listen, when you have to play all five guys in the court, we've had a couple times where we had lineups out there in the last few years where the defender could sit right in the middle of the lane and not have to worry about it. I don't think that's going to be a problem for us this year. So when you have to be accountable for all five guys in the court, that opens up a lot of things.
Since you last spoke to you, the House versus NCAA came out. How have you handled that on the basketball program?
That's a great question, and I thought it had been asked a lot earlier. Listen, I'll say this: there's a lot of unanswered questions as this thing will progress. I'm glad it happened. I'm glad the case was finally settled, and now we can move on with our lives. At least for the rules that we've heard. We had our league meetings in LA. We talked to our commissioner a lot about how this thing was going to take place. Talked to Troy Dannon in leadership of our athletic program about what to expect. And, listen, from everything we understand, revenue sharing is going to be the main source for these guys now. The true NIL deals are going to have to go through the clearinghouse that's run by a very reputable company with Deloitte. And, we'll see how that all plays out on what a fair market value is for somebody to be approved an NIL deal. But until we see a deal that's rejected, which I don't think that's happened yet. What exactly the parameters are within an NIL deal getting approved. So, still a lot of things I think to play out in this regard, but I am happy at least that, the way we understand it right now, there's going to be some guardrails in place. And now it's about, playing within the rules and, hopefully doing the best job you can with pretty much what the way we look at is a set salary cap for your roster, whatever the decision is by Troy, for what we'll have to operate under. So, we're in constant communication on it, and we're going to do the best job we can in this new landscape.
Now, the follow-up, what about with players? Have they come to you and talked about it? Have they said, hey, let's talk moving forward? I'll be getting the back on.
Yeah, not to this point. No, most of them have representation. The ones that don't, certainly will have conversations when the time is right. They are getting educated on that. We have people within our athletic department that do help them, with the education process and, the education piece as we go into this new era of college athletics. But as far as going forward talks, as far as future, no. I mean, our roster's set this year. Everybody has, what they're going to get, and then, we'll worry about the future when it comes.
Okay.
All right, thanks, guys.